Welcome to another informative episode of Housing Development. As humanity celebrates women on this year's International Women's Day on March 8th, it is important for us to celebrate many fabulous women for their impressive careers and achievement across the housing and mortgage sector. What challenges do women in the housing and construction industry face, and what risks is associated with their job? I will be speaking with some amazing women today. As always, I am your housing diva, Flora Annie. The construction industry is typically a male-dominated one and presents a major challenge for equal opportunity for women. The Nigerian construction sector has a particular low participation rate for women. But in recent years, it is clear that women are beginning to cut through the industry that was once only dominated by men. Women are hitting it hard on every sector of the economy. What are the roles and contributions of women internationally and nationally to the development of the housing and construction industry? What are the constraints, the bias, and how can we break the bias? Let's listen to this amazing woman who spoke as guest speakers at a one-day online conference organized by Africa International Housing Show to celebrate women.
I think fundamentally, it's good that we're talking about housing, but the challenges that women confront is way beyond housing. And so, biases exist literally everywhere, across every sector to start with, but actually across every stage of a woman's existence from when she's a girl child. The obvious thing for me is I always believe that the solutions have to lie within ourselves. So as we talk about, gender bias for what it is, what it is, I'm sure you all witnessed in Nigeria a couple of weeks ago what happened in the House. These are our representatives really voting us down. The truth is that the solutions have to lie and have to come from within ourselves. And while the biases exist, we have seen great women, and some of them are on this platform, really break the glass ceiling. And those are the ones that we must challenge. And that includes all of us on this platform to make the difference. We have to create the opportunities. We have to literally go back to the girl child, and from then on begin to inculcate the ideas that while biases exist, we can all walk through those biases and be everything that as a woman we are meant to be.
We need to think about how housing is acquired, and how housing is acquired is going to tell us for each way housing is acquired, what are the challenges that are specific to women. I can talk about one of them and get back to others as we go on in the conversation. And one of the ways housing and property in general is acquired is through inheritance. In many countries on our continent, traditions and sometimes even laws favor men over women. In many traditions, women are barred from inheriting land because it might go to their husbands and therefore to another family. In my own country, Morocco, women do inherit, but only half of what men receive, and that's in the law. Inheritance clearly discriminates against women, and it is a major cause of unequal access to home ownership, not just home ownership, but asset ownership, including home ownership. So as a result, women not only get a smaller share of property, but they can also become homeless in some cases when properties are not titled and that's not written in the law. For instance, when women become widows and the homes are taken by the siblings of the deceased. There are a number of ways women are discriminated against in access to property, and I would like to go over them when I'm given the floor again later in this conversation.
I'm of the school of thought that if you bring value to the table, you shoot the head, and you should be able to excel in whatever field you choose to play in. So a few years ago, I will tell you, I don't see any bias. But I know it exists. But what I tell the female colleagues that I work with is that yes, it exists, but pretend like it doesn't and do your best. And if you continue to deliver, people would tend to forget, that you are female. And that has kept me in this industry. I keep telling them, I say, success has no gender. Excellent service delivery has no gender. And I think women should also strive hard not to play the female game, because that's past expired. Now it's what you bring to the table. So that's the way I have over time been able to conquer that bias.
A woman that comes to mind in this centuries past is Octavia Hill, who contributed immensely into the housing sector in the United Kingdom. And women still continue to do that till today. Though bias exist, when you are able to deliver in the industry, yes, people begin to forget whether you're a woman or not, and you're able to deliver, but it still exists, and there is need for us to continue to speak about this and see how we can begin to deal with it. Generally, construction is seen as a man's job, and it's a bit dated in terms of it is our culture, it's a bit cultural. It's a mindset of people to think that, okay, when you're in construction industries, for men, it's a hard work, and women are a weaker vessel, so they cannot handle some things. So it becomes important for us to come out and support ourselves as women.
Bias is an expression of ignorance. We have bias because we don't have a broader sense of what the opportunities are, or the needs, or the capacities of a particular group of people. And in this case, I think a key role that we all can play and must play and promote and advocate is to improve the data landscape that specifically recognizes and the role of women and disaggregates any metric that we collect, disaggregates that by gender. The housing challenge is a challenge that exists across the board. It impacts on both men and women and their families and so on. But the opportunity of focusing specifically on women is to create a smaller target market where you can have much more precise interventions that then leverage the capacities of the people that are being targeted. So better understanding women as the particular consumers of housing and how they engage and use and use of housing, recognizing that their housing is both residential space as well as commercial space.
And something else that we also need to address is that in terms of access to finance, so for example, if you go to financial institutions, etc., there's a kind of men's-only club kind of thing going on, where men are willing to support men a lot more than they would women in the finance industry. But luckily now we're having more women participating in the finance sector. We have female CEOs of banks and financial institutions. So I think that with that, women should be able to support women better in the sector. So we need to have more women supporting women driving the real estate sector, especially the housing sector. Now, in terms of women being able to participate, buy homes, invest in real estate, where you have cultural bias where women cannot own property, it creates a challenge for greater participation in the sector. So we need to be a bit more, how can I put it? We need to engage advocates. We need advocacy in the sector. We need more support for women, especially women in the rural areas. We need to be able to make finance a lot more accessible to them.
Welcome back. We need to have this crucial conversation about bias and injustice that our women experience. For the housing industry in particular, some finance institutions deny single women loans. In some cultures, widowed women are stripped of their matrimonial entitlements, including real estate. Likewise, single moms still face some kind of stigma when it comes to renting. Let's watch what Nigerians think of this on Voices on the Street.
In the building sector now, you don't usually see women doing the manual labor, except in some villages. I know I could give an instance. You really get to see the women doing the labor work, manual work, all those stuff. But in the city here, it's not rampant. Anyone happens to become a widow, which is too bad, I don't think there's any reason for such a person's property to be, the husband's property to be taken away from the person. I think family members should actually come to help that person. It is not, I don't support that at all. I do not support that. So if a woman happens to be a widow, the husband's property definitely should be hers, provided there are documents and all those stuff. I don't think those stuff should be taken away from the person at all.
In the construction sector, women are highly underrepresented. And I think it's majorly women are not interested most of the time, and because people are prejudiced and biased against using women in construction. But I believe that if women can go to construction and do a thorough job, they will do a better job than men. But right now, unfortunately, they are highly underrepresented. I'm really not familiar with what government is doing concerning widows and all that. But what I do tell people as a preacher of the gospel, I tell widows, don't be a victim. You can, before your husband dies, for instance, now as a husband, my wife has access to everything I have. My wife is my next of kin. He has everything. There's no single human being anywhere in the world, dead or alive, that can take anything from my wife.
A woman's dream should end in the home. They are not expected to explore, to express themselves, irrespective of the exposure, educational exposure and everything, the knowledge, the idea they've acquired. They don't want them to bring it out. So they believe a woman should be in the house. So they are not highly represented in the government. I don't think the government has really done much on that. It's only few individuals and some non-governmental organizations that have tried to take it up, fighting and helping them retrieve their things.
Yeah, in the construction industry, if I have to rate 5 to 5, I will rate probably 2.5, or maybe, yeah. I don't think we need more women in the construction housing industry, right? Yeah, so we need more women there. So they said we don't have too many women contractors, and when I go to site places, I don't see many women doing tiling or painting. They're very few. Probably at least 1%. I would say no. We need more policies in that regard that protect the interests of a widow or a man or woman, and also as a man. First of all, let's talk about government policies in regards to women who are in homes and protection for women who actually lost maybe their husbands, and you see family members comes to fighting over properties, land, things like that. I think also the government need to do more to have more laws in that regard.
Yeah, we have many there. Though many of them have this kind of fear, and maybe they fall down, but the professional one. In fact, I have a daughter going for civil building something now, which I encourage. It's not my biological daughter, but I think being a woman, I have to help her.
They felt that women don't have the strength. We are just good in kitchen. The government have not done much because Nigeria feel that is a tradition. As soon as the woman lost her husband, yes, the family, they have right to come and take one or two things. No, it is not done that way. Nigeria women are really suffering. They are really suffering in terms of in marriage. They are really suffering. So Nigeria government should do something for us.
In housing and
what you think, what you wish, what you dream, we can give you home, your office, anywhere.
At Urban Shelter Limited, we are committed to your satisfaction in terms of good housing construction, infrastructure, flexible payment plans, and that's not all. We uphold affordability, reliability, quality, and innovation. shelter, distinctive homes, prestigious offices.
Welcome back. You're watching Housing Development. Without any doubt, real estate is also one of the best careers for women who want to constantly learn new skills and be financially independent. In this field, you always need to keep yourself up to date and learn something new about the business on a daily basis. If you want a career that will force you to stay on your toes and push forward, well, it's real estate. Let's take a listen to these fabulous women who, against all odds, are doing great things in the real estate sector.
I think the issue is to go back to the root cause and grassroots, the foundation, the cause of why most women are failing to access housing. And if you look at the landscape, you will note that a lot of women are not economically empowered. And for Africa, by and large, it has to do with culture, religion, and tradition. So the girl child in the home is primarily viewed as someone to take care and maintain the home. And perhaps the ultimate goal is to get married. And I think this has to begin to change. The narrative needs to change. And I think there needs to be deliberate policy that needs to be done to make sure that the girl child is able to go through, get an education, be economically empowered, and at a later time be able to own her own home. So for me, I think it's about going back to the foundation and repairing what has gone wrong.
Look at government. You need somebody who is passionate to be able to run the affairs of government that will open up opportunities for women to have access to finance, access to mortgage, especially for women who are women-headed households, who are actually bearing the burden of looking after their children in uncomfortable, informal situations. The government should put in efforts to create rebates, especially for women who want to go into business for housing, for construction of affordable homes. We realize that a lot of government institutions are more male-dominated, do not give equal opportunities to women. And so it's important for us to open up that opportunity, create tax rebates for women, give them various opportunities, and that's the only way that affordable housing is possible.
The program is housing development. Like many other sectors, Nigeria's mortgage sector has been severely affected too by the advent of the global COVID-19 pandemic. In this exclusive interview, young Toby Ekechi, the managing director of First Generation Mortgage Bank, speaks on mortgage banking in Nigeria, as well as First Generation Mortgage Bank achievements and projections for the year 2022. Take a listen.
Mortgage banking in Nigeria has not been what it should be. Mortgage banking, for me, should really be the driver of the economy of any nation. That is what happens in the Western world, but in Nigeria, the reverse is somehow the case. Coming locally, I would say the Nigerian mortgage industry compared to the other African mortgage industry, Nigeria has done relatively better than most other African countries. But there's still very big room for improvement. But the industry, I would say, witnessed a very destabilizing effect with the advent of COVID-19. The COVID-19 threw the industry almost awash. However, I can tell you that the industry is coming back to its to stability. Coming to First Generation Mortgage Bank, yes, prior to 2021, we were doing fantastically well, especially in terms of profitability. You know, every business owner would look directly on profitability. But for us, we look at performance from various angles, various indices. 2021 in terms of profitability, FGMB, we did well. Most mortgage businesses focus only on the structured area. When I say structured area, people working in XYZ ministry, people working in this industry, but no particular attention has been paid to people working in the informal sector. So what we begun that last year, and we are carrying that along this year to look at the informal sector, put them together, get them to form cooperatives, maybe beer sellers association, spare parts sellers association and all that, and we are making tremendous progress. If you put them together and get them to get themselves enlisted with Federal Mortgage Bank and other secondary mortgage providers, you'll see that you can easily galvanize mortgage activities within them and amongst them. What am I saying? When you put them together as cooperatives, you can now ask somebody like Federal Mortgage Bank to give them a cooperative development loans. They use that to develop a parcel of land that they have, or you have, or another developer have in terms of joint venture. And so, mortgages will be created and all that. So we are looking at in that direction this year. And aside that, we want to also do more on the product we already have, the home purchase loan, where we give individuals mortgages at single-digit interest rate. So we want to do more, push that more into the business, into the economy, to see whether we will create more mortgages than we have done in the past. We've added serious value. I can attest to that. Last year, by God's grace, we were awarded the most innovative mortgage bank in Nigeria. We are not proud, but we thank God because it came out of hard work of the team of FGMB. Now, what is development? Development is when you get everybody doing something. When you get people, getting their daily bread, people earning something, and every facet of the economy is growing. So by what we are doing, you see, housing is very important. Whatever you do and you do not have a roof over your head, then you are not stable. So by what we have done in the past and what we are doing continuously, imagine giving people access to single-digit interest to own houses. That alone has changed a lot in the economy. I can tell you, more than 3,000 individuals have gotten a roof over their head via FGMB. We want to tell Nigerians, do not be scared. Mortgage arrangement is the in thing. See, it is best for you to get funded to own a house and use the additional money that you have, the excess you have, to run some other businesses, to make money for yourself. Because if you want to pick a 15 million, 20 million naira to buy a house to live in, you have locked down that fund. But if you come to us, First Generation Mortgage Bank or any other mortgage bank, where you can get single-digit interest rate, get your capital released, the fund the house for you, what happens? You can use the excess you have to create more money to be able to pay the mortgage arrangement that you've entered into.
One of the leading primary mortgage banks in Nigeria is now selling the Mall of Dubai, an exquisite and luxurious mall located in the heart of Abuja. Its features include office spaces, shops and showroom, banking halls, fashion and food courts, salon and spas, and lots more. And that's not all. Also selling 3-bedroom bungalows with BQ space, carcass with a flexible payment plan, 30% down payment, 10 years repayment, 12% interest rate at FAB Dynamite Estate, Kiami, Airport Road, Abuja. Why not own a piece of the future today? With First Generation Mortgage Bank, we engage in mortgage banking, personal banking, small business banking, as well as real estate structuring and financing. For further inquiries, please call 0913 600 0484 or 0913 600 0483. You can also visit our website at www.fgmb.com.ng.
Remember, the most important thing we can do is support each other as women. When women support each other, incredible things happen. The men should also learn to support the women because they are your mothers, sisters, wives and daughters. Let's help create a more gender-balanced world and break the bias. On that note, I call it a wrap on today's edition of Housing Development. Thanks for watching. If you miss any part of today's edition, you can watch it via the YouTube channel Housing TV Africa. I remain Flora Ani, your housing diva. Happy International Women's Day.